When we look at the Torah and we study, sometimes things which we always knew about and we didn't get the relevance and their application to us in our lives, it takes on a whole new level when we start to understand that it's not just something of old, it's actually talking to us today. So we'll take a look at today one of the garments that was worn by the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. And it was a very distinct garment. And the way it was made and designed has a lot to do with our lives. So it's actually a message, an instruction, a lesson, a life plan, if you will. The basics of the mitzvah go as follows. On the forehead of the Kohen Gadol was a tzitz. Over here, put on a tzitz. It was like a golden chain or whatever. And on it was inscribed 2 words. Kodesh LaHashem. Holy to Hashem. And the Kohen Gadol would wear it on his forehead. So the Torah tells us that the one who would wear the tzitz was the Kohen Gadol, Aharon. But who made the tzitz? Moshe. So those details are important. Moshe makes it, Aaron wears it. And then what happens? Well, when he wears the tzitz on his forehead, he causes the Jews to become desirable to Hashem. So it's important that Aaron has these garments. He had 8 glorified garments. The purpose of the garments in general was lechavod uletif'aret, as splendor and glory. And Aaron would wear these garments, and then he had this magnificent golden piece on his forehead. And so long as he was wearing it there, Hashem built a connection with the Jews and atoned for the Jews. What is on it? It's etched, it's engraved. Engraved on it are the words Kodesh LaHashem. What's very significant is the way it was engraved. It was written actually, instead of Kodesh LaHashem, it was written on, there's different opinions about it, but we'll go with this one, 2 lines. The bottom line and then the top line. So in other words, it's 2 lines. It's written first on the bottom and then on the top. On the bottom it said Kodesh Lamed, Kodesh Le. And then you went to the top line and it said Hashem. So instead of being written on 1 line, it was written on 2 lines. Bottom line first, Kodesh Le, and then you go to the top line and it said Yud Kei Vav Kei. And that in itself is significant too. Because, so there's a reason why the Kohen Gadol wears these clothing, and there's a reason why you and I have to learn about it forever in the Torah. We have to read about it in the Torah, we have to study it, we have to learn it, because it's important for us to find a way to wear a tzitz on our foreheads and to wear this golden piece, the golden chain, on us, to engrave the words Kodesh LaHashem on it, bottom line and top line, and to have Aaron, our Aaron, wear it, but our Moshe design it. And that's how the best way to live life. What does the word tzitz mean? If I say the word tzitz, you speak Hebrew. ועליו יציץ מזרעו. מה זה להציץ? מציץ מן החרקים. To peer, to peek. Right? להציץ means to peek. So things are closed, and then you are metzitz min harakim. It means there's a little crevice in a hole in the wall, and you're peeking and you're looking through it.
So tzitzis are...
Tzitzit are the same thing. It's basically, tzitz is the male and tzitzit the female. It means to peek. It's peeking at what? Gazing at Hashem. That's why when the sun rises in the morning, what do we call it? Netz hachama. It's the same word. Netz, Nates is the sunrise, because the sun is blocked. And then he peeks out, hello. And he shows himself. It's a glorious moment. And that is the peaking of the sun. So that moment of peaking is called Neitzacham. Now, what do we want in life? We want, the goal that we have in life is to be able to peek and to gaze and to see Hashem in our lives. Because what's really happening is that our lives become void of Hashem's presence. And that means, what would it look like if you felt Hashem in your life? If you felt God, you would realize that everything that happens to you is divinely orchestrated and ordained. Everything that happens is b'hashgacha pratit, is special. Now, of course, we know that to be true. We know our lives are purposeful. We know our lives are meaningful. But it's very hard sometimes, and we don't get it. We feel abandoned, and we feel worthless, and we feel challenged. We want to introduce divine energy into our lives to feel the love of Hashem. What's the goal of the Tzitz? It's to allow mankind, to be able to gaze and to peek at Hashem. Because, as Shlomo HaMelech said, he's like, Metzitz min acharakim, Hashem has to be able to peek through. Hashem is in your life all the time. Everything that's happening to you is beautiful, is awesome. It's never happening to you. It's always happening for you. And it's called Hinei Zeh Omed Achar Kotzleinu. Hashem is standing right behind the wall. That's the problem. That there's a wall. The problem is that between us and Hashem, there is a wall, a blockage. We don't see Hashem in our lives. Now, in order for this to work, people like to tell stories, right? It's good to tell stories. And when you tell a story, it feels more, I don't know. When someone tells a story, everyone's listening, right? But you know what the best story is? What's the absolute best story that we all love hearing? It's the story of ourselves. Like, your life is a story. And things that are happening to you are the story. So why should we go tell stories about someone else and something else? I mean, we should do that also. That's nice. That's fun. But maybe we should tell a story about ourselves. And look and discover a new way of viewing our own lives and our own beings. So, is there a wall in your life? Is there something in your life that blocks you from feeling good, from feeling happy, accomplished, fulfilled, all the wonderful things you want for yourself? Is there something that's blocking you from feeling it? And what is it, if yes? Originally, the way the wall was created, there was a wall built between us and Hashem, a blockage. When? By the Churban Beit HaMikdash. The tragedy of the Beit HaMikdash being destroyed is that up until that moment, we felt Hashem's presence. And what does it mean to feel the Shekhinah, to feel divine presence? In our terms, it means to feel valuable, worthy, special, unique. All those things that fill the void. And all the troubles and trials and tribulations that we go through today are all connected to one thing, to not feeling Hashem in our lives. And Hashem says, I just want you to know, guys, that there's a one-way blockage. I am here all the time. What's missing is you. Meaning, Hinei Zeh Omed Achar Kotzleinu. We put up a wall. And when we understand that wall, how to break through that wall, we discover Hashem. All we need to do is do the work to be able to peek through and gaze at Hashem. And this is what we call teshuvah. Teshuvah, we usually say, is like, okay, I'm going to say sorry for my sins. So most of us don't have a clue what sins are. We don't sin. we mess up, but we don't sin. Certainly not bedafka. We don't intend to. But there's a wall that's created. Now, this wall, if we really want to trace what happened, so again, in the times of the Beis HaMikdash, you felt God. You walked into the Beis HaMikdash, you felt the presence of Hashem. So you felt the love, you felt the connection, you felt the worthiness. As soon as the Beis HaMikdash disappears, we're left to fend for our own selves. And it's hard. Life is tough. What ends up happening is there are emotions that are built into our system which result from this blockage. And we get stuck in these emotions. So the way we term this is that there's a nation that's always looking to get us. There's this one nation out there, no matter what happened throughout history, they were always looking to chapa, to just beat us for no reason. And when the Churban comes about, this nation suddenly gains power. And the Torah recognizes that it's so important to defeat this force inside you, so critical is it, that the Torah tells us, and we're now in the month of Adar, it says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek, baderech b'tzeitchem miMitzrayim. Remember what Amalek did to you. Because you have Amalek built into your own system. And the only way to overcome and to get through this wall and blockage is by overcoming Amalek and by experiencing the power of Teshuvah. Teshuvah means to return to default settings, to be able to feel Hashem in our lives. So it's critical to understand why we don't. What did Amalek do? Amalek saw the Jewish people. They were Hashem's chosen prize nation. They just experienced 10 plagues, 10 makos, and even a Kriyas Yam Suf. What does Amalek do? Most nations are scared to attack. They're petrified. What's Amalek's response? Let's attack. Why? You know why? Because he doesn't care to be destroyed and defeated. He can't handle our success. It just bothers him. Why are they successful? And he's angry and mad over it. He's so upset that he has to go attack us. Have you ever felt that Amalek in your own life? Which means that someone else's success bothers you. We didn't bother Amalek. I mean, there were nations that we bothered. I get it, right? We were about to attack, let's say, Moab. So Moab gets flustered. He's like, they're about to attack me. We're about to attack the 7 nations of Canaan. So it makes sense. They're going to come back against us. The one nation that makes no sense, one of the nations that makes no sense is also Midian, which is connected to Amalek. But Amalek makes no sense. We didn't pick any battle with them. They were just standing on the side. We were not even we're not going anywhere near them. They could have just stayed on the side, just accepted that we're doing well, and that's fine. Have you ever had the following experience? That someone else is doing well, and you don't know why, but you have a bad midah inside you, and it bothers you to no end that the other person is successful. And success means in an area that you want to be successful in. So if you like to have good shalom bayis, it means you see someone else has good shalom bayis. If you're a shadchan, someone else made a good shidduch, and you're supposed to be happy for them because the person got a shidduch, but sometimes, let's face the reality, instead of being happy for them, you're actually upset. Why didn't I make it? And even if you know, and it's clear to you, that it's not for you this wasn't even possible for you. Other people's success just bothers us for no reason. That force is the Amalek inside of us. And what it does to us is insane. Because Amalek is Reshit Goyim Amalek. He's the beginning of all nations. Nations are obviously the nations out there, but they're more importantly to us the nations in there. The nations inside your head. So Amalek breeds all sorts of negative feelings inside of us. Have you ever found that you have a feeling of You'd rather be, you'd rather, you could be happy, but you choose not to be happy. You choose to be miserable in order to show someone else, to prove a point to someone else. How many people go on vacation, not because they need a vacation, but just to show that I also went on vacation? The friends go on vacation, and so I'm not going to be the only one who doesn't go on vacation. I also go on vacation. And so I don't even care for it. I don't do it. Why do I do it? To prove a point. Natzchanut, it's called, right? I'm also, how many people lease cars that they can't afford? And the only reason they'll lease the car is because I have to show myself in a certain light. If you don't relate to those examples, find examples you do relate to. Because we all have things that we do that we're miserable from, but it's the sense of, I have to do it because otherwise I'm not in the game. It comes from a certain ego and an arrogance that leads us to places we don't want to be in. And kind of like forces us into all these negative kind of experiences. How many of us do things because we are desperate for the Hebrew word we don't like, covered. Like, I don't think do for covered. Covered, you don't have to. I need people to respect me, whatever. No, I don't need covered. Let's use a better word, a slightly less intrusive word. Recognition. I want to feel recognized. I want to feel valuable and recognized. So what happens is, this Amalek enters into our beings and he blocks us from feeling good about ourselves. So your life could be absolutely wonderful and perfect and so good, and you're just doing so well, and Hashem is just raining down his brachas on you, but he's raining down more brachas on someone else. And I don't feel enough recognition in my life, so I'm gonna push and do things I shouldn't do. And we could lead our lives this way. In other words, I'm sure we often notice that if we were Holocaust survivors, sometimes we'd be so happy, right? Because, well, we just went through the Holocaust. So it's like, and now I'm alive. It's amazing. But I'm not a Holocaust survivor and I didn't go through that. So I'm just mad that I don't have such and such and such. Those experiences, those feelings are a Amalek which enters into us. So here's the challenge. Challenge is, you want to feel in your life Hashem's presence, Hashem's loving embrace, telling you that I'm with you, everything that's happening for you is special and meaningful and perfect, and it's all exactly what you need, and I got you covered all the time. Nothing bad is ever happening to you. But we develop a sense of a need, an imaginary need that we have. That's Amalek. Amalek is Yodea et Ribono umitkaven nimrod bo. He knows his master, and he's dafka gonna go against. I know there's Hashem, but what should I do? I want recognition. I want power. I'm not happy in my current state. And how do we win against this Amalek? How do we overcome our emotions and become mentally and emotionally stable and healthy? And I venture to say that these things lead us to insane places. I was in South Africa now last week, so my brother-in-law, who's one of the Rabbanim there, he tells me, he says, over there, he says, just you should know, these past 2 weeks, he says, we had over here 3 cases of attempted suicide. And they weren't by teenagers. By a 40-year-old, a 60-year-old, and a 70-year-old. And one of them actually know. And you look and you're like, where do these things come from to us? It's like we drive ourselves sometimes so insane that we go places which we would never have believed we could ever go to. And what we're going to learn is how to overcome them in a step-by-step process, which is going to be very clear and then very, 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 very difficult to actually implement. So we're going to know what the steps are, and then try it out in your life and see if you can actually implement them. The first step is to notice and to know and to be aware that Hashem is in your life. Hashem is taking care of you every single moment. And the only way to do that is, it's not like, it's a deep, deep meditation and contemplation. That's why Hashem gave us Shachris in the morning. What's Shachris about? A lot of thinking. And it's very, very, very important to daven Shachris for everyone. What does that mean to daven Shachris? It's to reflect deeply on Hashem running this world. You know it to be true. You see babies being born, you see people, God forbid, being taken away. And so you know that Hashem is running it. And you know that you have zero control of anything. But we want to be cognizant and mindful of that. That Atahu, as we say in davening, Kodem shenivra olam, Atahu mi shenivra olam. That Ani Rishon v'Ani Aharon u'mivaladai en Elokim. Hashem is before creation, after creation, and in the middle, it's all God. To realize that Hashem is right there. And the blockage is me. So firstly, to know that Hashem is taking care of everything. That's step one. Step two is to notice the wall and the barrier that's being put on you. Not to deny it. Like when you feel a sense of inadequacy, instead of saying, I'm not feeling inadequate, I'm not feeling jealous. No. Embrace it. Accept it. Notice it. Talk to yourself as if you're a third person. Wow, it sounds like you're feeling inadequate right now. Because as soon as you're able to notice how you feel, now you have the power. That's Amalek. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. There's no reason for it. He's just making you feel a particular way. Instead of identifying yourself with your feeling and saying, I'm such a loser. Because if you're such a loser, then you are a loser. Then your whole life you'll spend building into what it means to be a loser. But if you say, I'm just feeling helpless, I'm feeling like a failure, then it's a feeling. So that's interesting. Hi, Amalek, I see you. And I notice the feelings that are your children that stem from you. This, oh wow, I'm looking for recognition. Cool. I feel inadequate. I feel like I'm lacking. And I feel like I need to go somewhere. And I need to be somewhere else. Okay. Just notice it on yourself. Next step is the Kohen Gadol puts on garments. What's interesting about the Kohen Gadol's garments is, you would think, so you want to feel recognition, right? That's bad. Why do you need recognition? So you notice, oh, that's my Amalek. Here's the story. Amalek, he's actually good. Can you imagine if there wasn't Amalek, what would happen? How would we celebrate Purim? Purim is because of Amalek. It's like, who led Mordechai on the horse? It was Haman. And like, when Ahasuerus wants to know, he's like, imagine he would ask Mordechai, what do you think I should do with someone I wish to honor? You're such a good guy, you saved my life, what should I do with you? What would Mordechai respond? Your Majesty, I'm good. I saved your life, that's good enough for me. So what does Ahasuerus do? He turns to Amalek. He says, Haman, if I wish to honor someone, what should I do? What does he get? Crystal clarity into how you recognize someone. He says, you got to parade him on the horse, you got to do this and that. In other words, he establishes for you exactly how I want to be recognized. Notice on yourself, what's your Haman? Do you want to feel recognized? Some people want to feel just security. I just want to feel like I have the money that I need. I want to feel secure. I want to feel good. Some people want to feel accomplished. Try this exercise out. You know, like this morning when I woke up, I did exercises. Exercise 1, Peloton. Good ad for the Peloton. It's very geschmack. Go on and you exercise your muscles. You feel good. And then I'm like, okay, next Now I need to exercise my emotions. I'm not going to ignore them. They too need to be exercised. I'm going to take the garments of the Kohen Gadol and put them on me. You know what that means? Look at yourself and say, what feelings are you looking for? Amalek, your Amalek is looking for. What's he looking for? Looking for recognition, looking for security, looking for accomplishment, looking for impact. What are you looking for? What you want to do is put the garments on now. That's step 3. Meaning, instead of living in a space of not having, which Amalek wants you, why don't you change that over and start living in a space of yes having? You want impact? Look at yourself and start writing down all the things whereby you already have impact. You want to feel happy is too general, but you want to feel like relaxed and just a sense of being taken care of. Put the garments on now and start noticing how you already have it now. That's what it means that Aharon is putting on the 8 garments, lechavod uletiferet. One of the 8 garments, in a moment we'll delve into it, is the tzitz. So you want to put on the garment. Make sense? Step 1, Hashem is running everything. Step 2, I have a wall and I'm not feeling it. And you notice on yourself, what's the wall? Whatever you're feeling right now, that's the wall. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to start noticing how I already have the feelings that I have now. That means exercising your emotions. Every person needs to feel emotions. Avraham Avinu was sitting down, right? He wanted to feel kindness. He was a kind man. He needed to feel chesed. So what did he do? He was looking outside. Can I have some guests? Because I need to express my sense of kindness. If you feel the sense of kindness, you have to look, where am I getting to feel love? And the more you feel it, the more you'll get of it. That's what it means to put on the garments of Aharon. What does Amalek do? Torah tells us Amalek blocks the name of Hashem from being revealed in this world. Right? It says Hashem's name is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Ki yad al kes Yud-Kei milchama la Hashem ba'Amalek midor dor. Hashem says, so long as there's Amalek around, Ein Hashem shalem ben hakiseh shalem. My name is not complete and my throne is incomplete. What does that mean, my name is not complete? Hashem's name is, let's take the first 2 letters, Yud and Hey. If you want to live a good life, you need to do the following exercise. Did you ever hear the interview where Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau, soll sein gesund, was being interviewed? And the interviewer tells him, I think it was Holocaust Day or something, a couple of years ago. And the interviewer tells him, he says, Rabbi Lau, he tells him his story, right? And then he's like, I was 7 years old and my entire family was ripped away from me. My father was murdered, my mother was murdered, all my brothers, all my sisters. One brother survived. Everyone else was taken away. And he's like, yeah, and there's that famous picture where, the American soldier is holding me up because he was so excited that there's such a thing as a Jewish child. Like, whoever saw Jewish children after the Holocaust. It was absolutely incredible. So the interviewer looks at him and he says, Rabbi Lau, I don't understand. How could a person who went through the Holocaust and lost everything still be happy? You're such an accomplished person. Everything about you, you're so upbeat. Just sitting in your space feels so empowering. It's like a dynamic person. Everything about him is all life. It's vivacious. You feel a sense of absolute life. That's what he definitely exuberates, the whole feeling around him. He's like, I don't understand. How did you not fall into a depression from all that happened to you? Good question. And I was like, yeah, how do you do it? His answer was absolutely wild, and it's probably the reason why he survived in the first place. And right now looks at him and he says, I don't get it. You just said why. Everybody around me died. They were all murdered. And my father, my mother, and the people around me, I was in Auschwitz, and like the chances of survival of me were probably 0.00001. It was like a 1 in a billion chance of survival. And guess what happened? I survived. I got out of it. You know what that means? It means that Hashem thinks I'm awesome. Hashem, like, really, really feels that I'm worthy of being alive. Every single day of my life, I think about this. Why did I survive? Obviously, there's some mission for me, and that spurs me on to do more. Now, I ask you the question, why are some people victims, victimized, and other people rise to the occasion? He couldn't be normal after the Holocaust, but instead of feeling victimized, he walks out, like these refugees, been there for 75 years. I'm a refugee. What makes you a refugee? 75 years in a camp in Gaza and he's still a refugee. Or you could be a Rabbi Lau and you're like, what? I'm a winner. Go up and accomplish. We say it by Havdalah. Ozi v'zimratka v'yihili lishua. What does that mean? Ozi, my might. And the singing, Zimbra also means the pruning of Yudke was my salvation. In order to survive in life, you want to have a sense of the name of Hashem, Yud and Hey, which means the way we look at Hashem is, thank you, Hashem. I'm grateful to you for giving me a world and creating me and wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, I'm not so happy with what you made because I'm really mad and I'm really feeling down. If you want to be grateful to Hashem for everything He is giving you, before you can be grateful to Hashem, what you want to do is notice how undeserving you actually are. It's to accept all the disappointments. When Hashem writes His name down, how does He write it? Yud and then a Hey. Now, Yud is actually the source of all letters. When you write a Hey, it's actually a Yud. You write a Yud, and then you make it go down, and then you go that way, and then you add a little line, and that becomes a Hey. All letters in Safra are actually written as little Yuds. Yud is Hashem contracting Himself to a little point. Hey is expansion. Yud is contraction. Hey is expansion. If you live your life with a Yud and a Hey, contraction and expansion, you'll see how you feel good, which is why Hashem's name is Yud-K, Vav-K. Vav-K is the same as Yud-K, just the Vav is long. When you live your life with contraction and expansion, then you expand yourself into a good space. In other words, the way to live life is by saying, I am undeserving. You want to feel good and excited and happy about everything you have? First accept all the disappointments. That's how you do it. In other words, you sit down and you say, what if my life goes so bad and I lose all the things which I'm chadashing for? If I lose everything, what's going to happen? And you say, okay, what's going to be? I'll feel very disappointed. Actually, who says I deserve anything? And you sit down and you cry, if you have to, about all the worst things. If I lose everything, how do I feel? Because when Hashem created the world, He doesn't owe us anything. Hashem is actually unlimited. And Hashem humbled Himself, contracted Himself, lowered Himself to allow us to have a relationship with Him. When we say Hashem is awesome and great, that's after Hashem lowered Himself down. Contraction and expansion. Before you can accept the good in your life, you need to first contraction. Have a contraction. What does it mean? Accept all the disappointments. If you accept all the disappointments, now whatever you have, you can be grateful for. So let's go through our steps so far. Step 1. The goal is to feel, the goal before the steps. Our goal is to feel Hashem's presence in our lives, to feel good and happy and content and taken care of and worthy. How do I fill this inner void? First thing I got to do is meditation. Hashem, in davening. Hashem is everything. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is really controlling everything. I know that my life is godly. I just don't feel it. Step 2 is notice how you don't feel it and accept these feelings. They're horrible. But I accept. I feel that anxiety. That's my Amalek. Hi, Amalek. I see you. I notice you. I notice all the feelings that Reshit Goyim Amalek breeds in me. The need for recognition, the need to be. And I notice how those feelings block me from my own inner true being. Step 3, instead of running away from these feelings, I embrace them. I start noticing that I already have the things that Amalek tells me that I don't have. The recognition, the accomplishment, I have it already. Notice little things in your life, how you do have it. That's called putting on the garments of the Kohen Gadol. Lechavod u'letifaret, for recognition. Step 4 is to undo Amalek's work. Amalek is about Hashem should not be complete. And what you want to do is be able to feel Oziv Zimratka, the might and the power of Yudke. Vayihili Lishua. That means accepting all the disappointments. I don't deserve anything. I'm okay. If I don't get anything, I'm still going to be fine. And once you accept it, and it means to really accept it in your heart, by the way. It means to sit down and cry it out. I lost everything. I have nothing. I'm a loser. Terrible. Now, everything you have, it's like, oh, Hashem gave me this, Hashem gave me that. Thank you, Hashem, for this. Thank you, Hashem, for that. And you start getting excited over the things that you do have. And then Hashem's name becomes complete. Because Hashem is actually in everything. This world is a kiseh for Hashem. What's a kiseh? Kiseh is a throne. Kes Aleph, a throne for the Aleph, Hashem. Hashem Echad. But Amalek is Kiyad al Kes Ka. Hashem's name is incomplete. And Amalek also doesn't allow the kiseh. He makes it into a kes. Kes is the covering over and concealment. Everything that's going on by you is God loving you and caring for you. When do you get to feel it? When you accept the disappointment, accept not having it, and then noticing Hashem's beautiful power all the time. So far we're good? Next step. How do you win against Amalek? Hashem tells Moshe, go fight the war. So Moshe tells Yeshua, Bechar lanu anashim, b'tzeh hilachem ba'amalek. He says, I want you to go choose people and go fight the war against Amalek. Who chooses the people? Moshe. The people who go out have to be Moshe people. Moshe men. The men of Moshe. Anshe Moshe. What does it mean, Anshe Moshe? It means Moshe is a person of whom it says he had the most unbelievable humility. He did not feel his own self at all. He was totally and utterly nullified to divine power and presence in his life. There was zero sense of self by Moshe. V'nachnu ma. I don't exist. I'm here to be a conduit to Hashem. That means it's your power of letting go. Letting go means, once you've done all the above, right? So you've accepted that disappointments, it's fine, whatever happens, I'm good with whatever's there. You notice the feelings in your life, you accept that you do have it already. Hashem is running everything. Now you move to the next step, which is to just let go in everything. It's called effort and surrender. No attachment to the outcome. I'm going to move forward, and that's it. If you want to win against your own inner Amalek, Amalek says to you, you need recognition. It's like, it's hard, okay? When you have this Amalek inside you, it's like, I need to feel something. And I went to this class, and they were talking to me about something, and it was just so abstract. I didn't understand, because they were saying to me that I have to feel that Hashem is taking care of me. Yeah, but okay, it's good, but I want this thing. That's called not being ready to let go. And the funny part about it is that we can live our whole lives not being able to let go. Because we're so sold in what Amalek tells us we need. I'm like, I'm desperate for it. And the only way to win against Amalek is to be Anshe Moshe. Let go. What does it mean to let go? Okay, so I've got to do something. I've got to go talk to this person. I've got to go try and make some money. I've got to do that. I've got to do whatever. You do it, and you move back. You let go. And that's why the one whose job it is to make the tzitz is Moshe. Because Moshe is a Jew who's ready to say, Einad Muvadi. We like to control the situation, to be able to know the next 20 steps and what's going to be and what's going to happen. We don't like to be uncertain. You know what the greatness of Moshe was? He had no idea about anything, and he just let Hashem do the work. And that's what it means. Let go. Move forward. And now we're making the tzitz. So we have these 8 garments of the Kohen Gadol. The goal of the garments is to put on a new reality into our lives. Because our reality, this Amalek inside of us, is so strong that we develop a desire to go one direction, and we're willing to be miserable our whole lives, fretting, why didn't I get there? I wish I could get there already. I'm not there, I'm there. And the whole life you can't let go. And now we're going to make the garment called the tzitz. So we have Moshe making it. I'm letting go. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's happening next. I'm not getting my dreams. I accepted the disappointments already. I'm just moving forward. The tzitz has in it, etched onto it, engraved on the tzitz, are the words Kodesh LaHashem. What does it mean to engrave? When you engrave, right, so you take a piece of wax and you engrave the letters onto the wax, and now the wax actually reflects the actual letters. Your life is an engraving. Your life is not happening by mistake. Your life is the most divine space ever. And it is an opportunity, it's some wax to allow Hashem to etch himself onto it. And what you're going to do is, instead of being in the driver's seat and trying to get somewhere and getting that American dream, you're going to let go and let Hashem get his way. And when you're doing that, you're etching God onto your very being. There's a purpose and a mission. Hashem and you are going to become one. How do you do it? You're going to write the words Kodesh LaHashem. Kodesh LaHashem are written on 2 lines. The top line, you don't control. That's Hashem's line. We control the bottom line. We control the lower line. That's our lives. And in our lives, what we want to do is be able to write clearly in our lives, my life is holy. My life is special. All you need to do is write Kodesh Le. And if you write Kodesh Le, Hashem does the rest. Hashem is running everything. He just wants you to notice his holiness in life. And this is the crux of what the tzitz is all about. So again, let's get our bearings. I feel in my life disconnected. I feel a void. I feel a lack of light, an inner light. I'm just not shining. I don't know. I'm not happy. I don't know why. And I want to feel God in my life. I want to feel a love and avas Hashem. I want to feel that Hashem has got me, taken care of, that everything's special and happening from Hashem. What do I do? Step 1, everything is divine. Meditate, reflect on that. Step 2, notice how your heart and your brain don't allow you to accept this meditation. That's your Amalek. You're so sold on something. But if you notice it, you can separate and distinguish yourself from it, differentiate from it. Otherwise, it's you. That's your Amalek. Step 3, put on the garments of the Kohen Gadol, which means start to wear these garments of glorifying yourself. Want to feel it. What do I want to feel? Every one of us is different. You want to feel secure. You want to feel happy. You want to feel content. You want to feel accomplished. Notice how you already feel and put the garments on. Step 4 is to realize I'm okay with not having anything. These are your morning exercises, by the way. This is what you're supposed to think about as you go through it. So I'm accepting all the disappointments. Nothing's working out in my life. Instead of crying, oh my gosh, nothing's working out. Nabach. Cry it out. It didn't work out. It's all gone. It's all lost. And then accept that Hashem is giving you, oh, thank you, whatever you give me, I accept. I lost everything and I accept humbly whatever you do give me. That's bringing the Yud-K into your life to allow yourself to see God in everything. Step 5 is to move along into the next challenge and just let go. Anshe Moshe, you be a Moshe man, a person who brings out Moshe into their lives. You say, Einan Movado, you move the next step, you make the call and you walk back. The next thing, you just do it. Step 6 is to accept and think about it, that all these things that are going on in my life are very, very, very meaningful. My life is etching Hashem onto me. And how do I do that? Step 7, I'm going to write in my life, Kodesh Le. And Hashem will do the rest. How's my life Kodesh? How's my life holy? My life is holy. Well, when you've done all the work, now you're letting go, right? So now I'm not trying to, me. This is constant work, right? It doesn't like you do it, not like you do it once and then now you're done. You look back at your life and you say, okay, the next step is, I'm going to do a mitzvah. And when I light those Shabbat candles, I'm going to say, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. And I'm going to notice, I'm going to be mindful of this. I am a Jew. I get to do a mitzvah of Hashem. I'm holy. I'm kadosh. And when I have a child who's acting out and just angry and mad, I'm going to say, my Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. Hashem gave me a mitzvah of chinuch, of working with this wacky child and making it work. And when I have a spouse who's impossible to deal with, I'm going to say, wow, I'm going to make this holy. Our lives are holy. How's it holy? Because Hashem wants me to bring Kedusha into impossible situations. My life is meaningful. It's finding Hashem in a place where He never was before. If you start noticing that, then you're bringing Hashem into your life. What Hashem's looking for is to be heard and to be felt. And that means you inscribe in your life. You only need to write Kodesh Le. Doesn't mean you see God everywhere. It means you just accept Hashem. I'm letting go, accepting you into my life. And I'm Mulvadai. Thank you, Hashem, I'm able to do this next work. And you have to actually feel it. That's the hard part. Because if you don't feel it, then you just, it's a good start. But you have to actually work it to feel it. Where does the Tzitz go? On the forehead of Aharon. Vaya al metzach Aharon. The prophet Hosea said, Ein dat Elokim ba'aretz. He said, in this world, we don't have das. That's our problem. We don't know God. It's so hard. It's so tough to exist and to be. Why? Because we don't have a relationship with Hashem. We're observant Jews. We believe in Hashem. We get it. Oh, yeah, of course. We do Torah mitzvahs and whatever. And then inside our heads, we're just so upset and so unhappy and so much going on. And I don't know what to do with it. And Hashem says like this. Summarize. Moshe's job is to make a tzitz. Lehatzitz, that Hashem should be able to peek at you. And your job is to peek through that hole. Meitzitz min hacharakim, to see God. To notice that everything in Hashem, everything is in your life is divine. I'm going to do this by following my steps. Noticing Hashem is everything. Noticing how I'm acting out and fighting against it, my Amalek, putting on the clothing, saying Hashem is giving me all those feelings that I want. And I'm accepting all the disappointments and recognizing that whatever comes, it comes. And Hashem, thank you for what I have. And I'm moving on forward and just letting go as I move forward into whatever Hashem allows me to do. And I'm noticing how my life is holy. Now I'm putting the tzitz on my forehead, made by Moshe, putting it on the forehead of Aharon. What's the forehead? On it it says Kodesh Le. And my life is holy. The space I'm in is special. What's the forehead? The forehead is the place of forgetfulness, actually. Inside is the brain. And outside is the forehead. The pasuk says, Metzach isha zona. That a zoina, the brazenness, is called a metzach. And contrasted to that is the metzach Aharon, which carries the tzitz. Because you go to a class, you daven, you learn about Hashem. And then what? What you want to do is carry the bottom line message on your forehead. On your forehead means on your skull, on the place of forgetfulness. Outside the brain, you're like, okay, what did I learn? In a nutshell, I learned that Hashem is everywhere in my life, and my life is holy. And if I just notice the holiness in my life, Hashem will be revealed everywhere. And if you can wear that bottom line message on your head, on your forehead, meaning that you can be mindful and draw from, okay, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling angry, and I'm insensitive, and I'm feeling need recognition, I'm feeling inadequate. Hashem, I'm feeling inadequate. And I allow Hashem to take over. That's what it means to put the tzitz on your forehead. Tzitz made by Moshe on Aaron's forehead, on our forehead. And when you do, it means to live with the bottom line. The bottom line is, your life is holy and Hashem is with you. If you can remember that point on your head, you become leratzon tamid lifnei Hashem. Then even if you live ba'aretz, you have dat elokim. We live in a physical earth. We live a physical life with all the challenges of life. And we can feel Hashem. And when you try this out and you let go and all the hard work, then your life becomes divine. And you start seeing the power of Hashem.